Well, welcome everybody, and this is John Leland from combridges.com. Welcome everybody, this is John Leland from combridges.com, and we're going to be doing a webinar here, a very rapid-fire 15-minute webinar on how the fastest way to a mobile-friendly website and the fastest way that I know to really kind of work with people, work with clients, and help do websites that work in today's modern era as efficiently and elegantly as possible. Let me just say hello, make sure that we're working. I can see that my audio is working. I can see my own video. My lower third is reversed for me, but I think it looks okay. Christina, I'm pretty sure that you're here, and I want to make sure that the chat is working. So give me just a hello in the chat, and I'll dive right into the presentation. Just want to confirm that everything is working. But I see the broadcast, so I can also go on good faith with that. It does say that we're live. So I'm just going to go on good faith with that. So yeah, my name is John Leland, and I do have some slides for us. One of the nice things I like about Google Hangouts is that it lets me do some visuals. So let me show you that that's working. And I'll probably switch back and forth. Hi, Christina. Hi, Neil. Great. I'm happy to hear that everything is working well. So this is my my little presentation using the Mac program Keynote. And I am, one of the things that I've found that actually where I want to start is that I've been doing websites really since the beginning of the web, going all the way back to 1995. So we've been doing websites now. No one's been doing them longer than 20 years because the Mosaic browser really was the beginning of websites. And so it's one of the things that's been extraordinary for me is to work through the progress from HTML, and then we started using Dreamweaver, and for the last about 5 years, my company's mostly been using WordPress, and we still do WordPress, so I'm not trying to represent that Squarespace is some kind of panacea, but I want you to know that I'm not a guy in a diner, and that this is something that I pay a lot of attention to, and part of the service that I provide to clients, I think, is staying on top of all the latest technologies and how they evolve. I'm something of a media file in that way. So this is really based on my experience, and the biggest thing that I want to kind of emphasize is not conceptual. Like I said, I've been doing WordPress websites for a long time, and just in the last 6 to 9 months, as I've started experimenting with Squarespace, I've really found it to be this kind of sweet spot where not only it's helping me to serve clients more effectively and more cost effectively, but where I'm now playing in the process of website design. I call myself an online marketing mentor and strategist because, as a creative director and marketing communications professional for a long time, I really like to be involved. And the WordPress process, because of the larger degree of technical difficulty, requires me to really collaborate with subcontractors. And the thing that's really shifted, not only be able to help more clients more cost effectively, but I do it myself. And I really sit with clients. Sometimes I'm teaching them, and I have something called the one-on-one get it done process that helps people get up and running more quickly. It's not a complete website, but I'm also doing complete websites myself and having fun, in the process. So it's created a whole other degree of control. So let me go into the presentation. About 15 minutes. I'm going to give you really kind of what I think are the bottom line ways that the whole process of web design has been shifted. I'm going to very quickly give you a little bit of background, which is that, as I said, I've had my own creative services company for about 30 years, coming out of a whole video background. I won't get into the details, but in this millennium, in the 2000s, I really have become very focused on the web. I wrote this book called Internet Marketing: 8 Key Concepts Every Business Must Know, that's available on Amazon. And the mission kind of underlying all of this has been spanning the Grand Canyon gap between people and technology. And as I mentioned before, one of the things that my clients depend on me for is to stay up to date with the latest and greatest marketing communications technology. And Randy Haldeman generously says that, you know, he trusts me, and I've actually worked with Randy at about 4 different companies to lead him the way in terms of the kind of thing that I'm talking to you about today. The other thing that I see over and over with small businesses, one of the big bugaboos, if you will, I think with small businesses and internet marketing in particular, and hi, Anita and Kim, great to have you here, is that done is better than perfect. You know, it's like companies and small businesses, and obviously there are lots of different kinds of small businesses. So I'm really talking here about solopreneurs and very small businesses that really don't have the resources to throw big time and money at doing a website, and, you know, the kind of marketing investment that can involve. And so the opportunity to get it done really does make a difference. So that's where I think the pain point is for a lot of small businesses. I hear it over and over again about how overwhelming all of this internet marketing stuff is, and that's completely understandable. Welcome, Laurel. And so what I've found, as I was talking about before, is the simplicity of a platform like Squarespace translates into new forms of collaboration. And that's exactly what my experience has been. You know, and that, you know, just to give you one quick example from one of my clients, and really there's a portfolio on my combridges.com website that can give you a lot more. But, you know, I love that Jim Draper said that in less time than it takes to play a round of golf, which is near and dear to my heart. I had his new website design, and it was I saved him a ton of time and money and effort, and that he was a one-on-one get it done website client. So he came over here, we sat for 3 hours. I helped him design the interface, choose a template, get his content in, and then, you know, he's a pretty technical savvy guy, so he was off and running, and really kind of did it on his own. He did do it on his own from there. So that's a whole different kind of process than I've ever been able to do before with clients in terms of creating websites. The other big thing, and the reason that I named this webinar the fastest way to a mobile-friendly website, is that even if you have a website, you're impacted by what search engine land called mobile-geddon. And there are really kind of 2 main dimensions that everybody needs to be aware of. One is that, you know, unless you're asleep, you know that everybody's using mobile phones now, and you know, they're ubiquitous, and people are using them to access websites, and therefore it's no longer an option to have a truly mobile friendly website. And then the other thing is that Google is now weighting mobile friendliness within search engine results, which is why Search Engine Land made up this term and created this graphic, because, you know, now everybody needs to be mobile friendly. And that, you know, that's really the #1 advantage that I'm going in with, although I'm going to give you some other big ones, is that they do have mobile-friendly, responsive designs. Their latest software version is 7.0. And as long as you stay within those templates, and they're beautiful, elegant templates, you're guaranteed to be mobile-friendly. One of the issues that I've gotten into with WordPress is not only is it more complicated to customize the themes. You know, you take a theme in WordPress and then you customize it for your design. That because the customization is more complex, it's easy to break the mobile friendliness. And you can do that in Squarespace if you get more advanced and do something called editing the CSS file. But I've never needed to do that. There's some simple changes that you can do. But, you know, their templates are mobile friendly, and this is what's called responsive. If you don't know what responsive design is, it means that it resizes automatically depending on the width of the device that it's being viewed on. So here you see a big iMac, a smaller, what do you call it, a laptop, and then an iPad and a mobile phone. And, you know, so the format changes automatically depending on the width. And that is something that's built into WordPress, and I'm sorry, that's built into Squarespace automatically if you're using the current version of their templates, version 7. And so that really is kind of out of the box, solves a big headache. You you know, some people get into doing multiple versions of their website, the desktop version and the mobile version. And for small businesses, that just makes things more complicated. Another big thing that you know, is clearly part of Squarespace's appeal, and we're going to do Q&A in just about 5 minutes or so, and so you know, I'm happy to talk about some of the other issues. And again, Squarespace isn't perfect; there are always trade-offs. But one of the big things that has made it fun, like I was talking about, where I'm enjoying doing websites more than ever before, is this ease of use. What I'm showing you just a piece of here in this slide is what I call the magic bubble. When you hover over a page that you're editing in Squarespace, this is a window that pops up, and it actually, you can scroll down. And there are many, many things, but you know, so this is the gallery items, for example, that are up top. These are all photo galleries, and you can click on one of those, add it to your page, load images into it, and boom, you've got 4 different types of image galleries on your page. Likewise, if you want to embed a video, just throw in the YouTube URL, boom. It's like there's a lot of stuff like that that's just really user-friendly, and you can redesign pages and layouts literally in a drag and drop fashion. And so that too is a big benefit. That's where I get into having more fun, because I can do that. If I have to recode the template, as frequently the case in WordPress, that's something that I'm going to bring in a programmer to do, and obviously the cost goes up. It also does, you know, it doesn't do everything. And clearly one of the big advantages of WordPress is the thousands of plugins that are available and the huge amount of functionality that that offers. But it also, for example, has created an additional work for me, because I have to research plugins, and you know, there are many options, and you know, that adds to complexity. Occasionally the plugins conflict. With Squarespace, the feature set is limited, but you get all these kinds of essential features, so that from the point of view of what most small businesses need, it's all there. You know, things like MailChimp integration for email subscribe forms, the ability to create a blog, social media icons, video and audio embeds, photo galleries, announcement bars, and on and on. There's a resource page if you ask me in Q&A, or you can just Google the Squarespace features and see the full feature set. You're working within this really stable walled garden is the term for it, but you know, within those limits, you get basically, you know, 80 or 90% of what you're going to ever use anyway, and probably in a lot of cases of a lot of small businesses, 100%. The other thing, the other differentiator that to me is really important, particularly for small businesses that want to save time and money, is the fact that Squarespace does offer technical support. They don't do it by phone, they do it by chat during business hours and email other times, and I've found the turnaround to be pretty good. So that's included in your hosting fee. And so that, you know, that simplifies things. If you're of a self-help mode, that you want to solve problems yourself and you're willing to sort it out. Not everybody is like that. But, you know, and we're here and we help people, and I continue to do kind of follow-on training sometimes with clients. But the option of having technical support and not being 100% dependent on your webmaster, you know, for a lot of small companies is really empowering and important, versus having to kind of go a little more technically sophisticated route when you want to make changes. The other big thing that I like about Squarespace, and I think differentiates it from some of the other providers like Wix, for example, Wix.com is another competitor of Squarespace that hosts and has its own software, is that the Squarespace templates really are elegant. They're very modern, they're very visually oriented, and we do live in an era of what I call the visual web. And so that's another big advantage. You know, I don't think that I would have gotten into Squarespace in the first place if it wasn't for the fact that I'm able to create really good looking websites pretty quickly by using their themes. And the last piece is that, you know, the technical headaches that have become part of helping clients with WordPress sites really kind of go away. And that's a big benefit for me, because I still do WordPress websites for clients that want and need it. And, but we then have to become experts at making sure that they're maintaining the software, making sure they're doing backups. Like I said, there can be plugin conflicts. We definitely have seen, and almost everybody that's had a WordPress site for some time has seen it be hacked. So you really have to make sure that you're doing the right things to make sure that you're right and you don't get hacked. So there are all those kinds of things that go into having a hosted WordPress site. And the benefit of the walled garden I mentioned that Squarespace is you're not doing a separate host like you might have GoDaddy, or you might have Rackspace, or there are all kinds of web hosts that you then take on hosting, and then install WordPress, and then you have to maintain it. What happens with Squarespace is they're doing the hosting. So it's like, it is this closed system, but that's really kind of a benefit as far as I'm concerned for small businesses, because they don't want to deal with those hassles. And I see a lot of small businesses doing WordPress websites and then getting caught by these kind of technical headaches or technical gotchas. And I like not having that anymore, and that definitely is a benefit for me on Squarespace. So that's the basic presentation. I am going to offer a 3-hour session for $150 off if anybody wants that. Only good for the next 48 hours. But if you want more information about my one-on-one Get It Done website offers, go to bit.ly/save and done, save-done. And if anyone who contacts me off this webinar in the next 48 hours, and I'm talking to you now live on Thursday morning Pacific time, so that would be Saturday morning, I'll give you $150 off that session, or pretty much any service that you want to contract in the next 48 hours. Like I do full Squarespace websites, limited number of pages, but a very reasonable website for $1,500. So we can do 10% off of that as well if you want to move in the next little while. And I'm doing something almost unprecedented. I'm putting my cell phone on the screen here if anybody wants to contact me that way. My Gmail is jleland@gmail.com. And that's my quick presentation. And I did do it in 15 minutes. I'm very happy about that. And I hope I illuminated the kind of benefits that I'm seeing in doing fast websites using Squarespace. And I do think sincerely it is the fastest way to a mobile-friendly website. So again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. And I'm willing to hang out. The chat is open. Christina, by the way, Kedman is my social media manager, and she's here to field questions. We haven't had questions yet because I can actually see the whole chat there, but I'm open to questions and would be happy to answer whatever, or I even have some bonus slides that I didn't go into. But what do people want to know? And did this work for you? Did you get what you came for? I'm interested in comments as well as questions. So we have the chat stream. Laurel's asking, and thanks for your question, my website needs to be photo intensive. Is there any difficulty with this on Squarespace? No, actually, what I was showing you before, and actually my friend Margot Duane, MargotDuane.com, just did her own Squarespace site, and she's a very high-end photographer. Are you a photographer? Are you looking to sell it, or you just have a lot of pictures, Laurel? But those galleries that I mentioned when I was talking about user friendliness really give you the ability to embed all kinds of photo galleries. And the other thing that I really like about the templates is this broad use of pictures. If you go to squarespace.com/templates, you'll see lots of examples of the way that the templates use photography as kind of inherently. Oh, Laurel, you're the florist. Of course, I know who you are. Thank you for registering and being here. Yeah, no, your pictures I think are going to be really well done. The other one, WilliamPatrickBuilders.com is in my portfolio, or you could just go WilliamPatrickBuilders.com. He's an interior designer, and we have portfolios of his work that we did using those gallery plugins. But Laurel, I think it would work really well for you. Thank you, Christina, for putting that URL in the chat. The other question here is about the cost. From Diana, thanks for that question. And I have actually a screen grab here that I can show you. They're basically, well, let me do that real quick. Give me 1 second to get the screen sharing up. Boom, and boom, and boom. There you go. So the costs are $8 a month. These are annualized. I don't know if you can see the fine print. So it's basically up to 20 pages. You're going to pay $10 a month, month to month, or $8 a month if you go annual. And then once you get above that, it's $16 a month. So yes, you can host less expensively than that. But it's not going to break anybody's bank, and it is a pretty reasonable cost. So, and that again offsets the cost of hosting, because this is hosting. It does not include email hosting. So, but they do have an integration with Gmail for Business. So at $5 a month per user, you can use Gmail, or you can also use GoDaddy less expensively. There are lots of other providers who provide email services. The integration, and that's one of the things that I help clients a lot when I do websites, is bringing the DNS and hooking your registration over. So for example, using GoDaddy as an example, you register your domain name. You can do it through Squarespace, but I'm complicating the issue. If for example, you registered your domain name with GoDaddy or another user, there's actually a pretty seamless integration inside Squarespace to bring the website host, to bring the web traffic to Squarespace as your host. So is that clear? They're providing the hosting, and then you're pointing your domain over there. You do need to get extra email services if you want to do email within your domain. Kim says, I need to have a client upload images to the site. Can this be done easily? Yeah, it's totally easy. The basic, I guess I could say it out loud. I'm not quite prepared to do an on-screen demo here, but all you really need to do is within that, when I showed the ease of use slide and I talked about the options in there, one of the first options that comes up is an image. You would click on image, which then gives you an image piece, and there's a little pop-up, and you click add image, you upload the image. It's a similar process to upload images into galleries like Laurel was talking about. And then it's in your page. And here's, Kim, where it gets really different from WordPress is that, we spend time optimizing images for fast loading in the old days, or still when we're doing WordPress. Also, the sizing can be kind of tricky. What happens, and I was doing this with a client actually by screen sharing, he's in Arizona, yesterday, then once that image is in there, you can drag it around, and it shows you different options to resize that image on the fly. And they're doing that resizing, by the way, because it ties in with the responsiveness. So when you're looking at an image on a mobile phone, an image has to be a different size than if you're looking on a large laptop. And so you can drag and drop the image after you've uploaded it and resize it, reposition it, put it different places on the page, make it wrap around the text, etc. Literally drag and drop. So it's that fun, it's that easy, and that's kind of why I'm doing more of that kind of, design myself and working with clients, because it used to be I would look as a creative director and go, this page would be better. That same client in Arizona, for example, he loaded up an image at the bottom of his speaker page it's a map that he had created about where he speaks around the world. And I said, well, up here in the first paragraph, you need to, that's where you're talking about different places you've spoken. Why don't you just put that image up top? And literally, I took the image from the bottom of the page, dragged it, it resized to half size. I let go of it, and boom, that image had been resized and replaced literally in like 5 seconds. So, that's just a different kind of web production than we've been doing. And part of what I'm saying. Can this go into a thumbnail page? So Kim, you're asking, for example, in a blog, and I could show you pretty quickly, I think, bring up my browser. But yeah, the blogging it's a little bit complicated. There's a little bit of a learning curve of how they configure it. So there basically is a blog index page you create, is how you create it. That's what I call it. That's not their term. Where then the blog posts include thumbnails. Is that what you're talking about in terms of a thumbnail page? So you can create, I think they call them collections. So what the blog becomes is a collection of blog post pages. And then you literally, when you create the blog post, then it has thumbnails. You certainly can create thumbnail images by sizing them down to small within Squarespace. So I'm not sure if that, if that doesn't answer your question, ask it be more specific, and I'll try and explain it. Cool. These are good questions, and they make sense. Anything else anybody wants to know? Oh, Diana says also using email marketing with it. I did mention it, that I did mention that, Christina. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Diana. When I mentioned the MailChimp integration, you can work with other email providers, but I like MailChimp these days. I'm recommending it to clients, and Squarespace particularly integrates well with MailChimp. And you know, when you move above the free level of MailChimp, which is quite generous, by the way, if you're just getting started, I think up to 2,000 subscribers are free on MailChimp. But they now have marketing automation by email at the paid levels that's quite sophisticated. And I'm just getting into learning more about that myself, but I'm pleased with it. But you can do, they have built-in response forms so that you can do lead capture and add people to your email list, and other kinds of forms. There is a embed as well as there are two different kinds of code embeds that you can put within the pages. So that pretty much enables any kind of email marketing form that you could do. So does that answer that for you, Diana? It's, you know, so certainly you can integrate MailChimp and all your basic forms of email marketing. I'm not sure what else you would want to do, but I'm happy to talk about it. Neil's asking, how does it handle videos? And again, it's basically as simple as what I was saying before about how you add pictures. So you, like in that same magic bubble that I mentioned, all the things that you can add to a page pop up, you would select video, and all you have to do if you're adding a Squarespace or a Vimeo video is put in the URL of the video, and then it translates and embeds that video right within your page. Same thing for SoundCloud, for audio files and other forms. I did, for example, and now I'm switching over to audio, not video, but yeah, video is really simple and practically instantaneous. If it's on, particularly if it's on YouTube or Vimeo. I like Wistia for some reasons, and there you're getting into an embed code, which is only slightly more complicated, where you know, that's the way normally in Squarespace I embed videos from YouTube using the embed code as opposed to just the link, but Squarespace translates the link, so that couldn't be easier. Another thing that I saw for Daryl Ackerman, which is another client that's in my portfolio, she's a musician, singer, songwriter, and vocal coach, and she had an album that we wanted to create, and basically we were able to pull up one of the options of pages is literally an album, which had built-in uploads for MP3 sounds, you know, samples of her, you know, cuts from her album, and you know, the cover. I mean, it was like it made the whole process really fast and pretty painless to create a page on her website for her album, and that's daraackerman.com, I believe. It's definitely in my portfolio. Yay, good questions. I love this. So yeah, we're still live and recording, and I'm going to get the recording out to you all. I'll also get the slides out. And I already mentioned the offer of $150 off any service contracted in the next 48 hours for you, my wonderful webinar people who showed up and participated. I really appreciate it. Any more questions? Or should we wrap it up here in only a half an hour? It's kind of like, I hope you agree that pretty high value information. Does it make sense to everybody? Christina Laurel asked about galleries on William's site. Oh, good. I missed that one. Thank you. So Laurel says, look at the gallery section of the William Patrick Builder's site. Is there a limit on the number of images that can be input on each page? I don't think there is. You know, there's a limit limit that of how many would be displayed when you see those kind of thumbnails, and that may be useful to you, Kim, and you're welcome. That might be useful to you, Kim, in terms of the thumbnail question, because the galleries, number of the formats have thumbnails built in, and then you scroll through. But no, Laurel, there's no limit to how many images you can put in. At least I haven't come up against it. The number of images that you see in the William Patrick Builders galleries is just what I thought were the good ones in terms of the photos that he had and wanted to represent his work with the best stuff. So we made a choice there in terms of, I don't know, there's 6 or 8 images, I think, per gallery, and that's enough for people to get an idea. Anita wants to know, is there a specific template for a service business? There are, when you go to squarespace.com/templates, there are categories, but there's a business category of the templates that they're suggesting as business templates, but not specifically service. That's the kind of thing that I get into when I work with clients in terms of helping them choose a theme, and then looking at making sure the contact information is well displayed, and kind of how the site's going to be formatted in a template design point of view. So you're still taking a template and customizing it, and so making it relevant and appropriate for your business, Anita, is kind of what we would do, I think, in working together, or what you would do if you were doing a do-it-yourself, is to have a vision for where you're going and how you're going to represent your services. One of the first things I do with clients and one of the things that I enjoy and I think is one of my strengths, is looking at the site structure. And by that, I mean, how do you name and outline the various pages so that it's user-friendly and people know kind of both where you want them to go and where they can find the information that they want the most. So that's more in choosing a template and customizing it, and then looking at the site structure and how do you offer your offer. And what kind of pink spoon in a Baskin Robbins. My coach, Andrea J. Lee, talks about, actually wrote a book on pink spoon marketing. But, I'm a big fan, and in a way you could say that this is me offering value for free. This is a kind of a pink spoon, this webinar. But, in terms of your service, one of the strategy things, and this is, I call myself online marketing mentor and strategist, is, what kind of pink spoons can you offer? What kind of free tastes can you offer that will help people appreciate the value of your service? So that, yeah, Christina's saying Anita had a question. I think we got that, right? Unless I missed one earlier. Anita had a question I missed. So is there another one? I'm scrolling down. Or did that get it? Anita, did we get everything that you asked? If you're still here, I think you are. So yeah, good. So yeah, I hope it's fun, and I hope this information was really valuable. If we get another question here in the next 60 seconds or so, oh, Christina got it. Yay. I will answer it. Otherwise, we will say goodbye. And I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you registering and giving me your trust that you show up. And I would love to hear your feedback or answer any other questions. Again, it's just my first initial and last name, jleland@gmail.com is my best email address. And 415-515-5022 is my cell. And I'm here for you, and would love to help and collaborate and have fun together doing marketing in whatever way works for you. You're welcome, Laurel, and thank you very much. Neil, great to have you here. And I think you and Anita know each other. And yeah, Christina, thank you for showing up and for your help, support. I'm really grateful. And great session, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your kind attention, and wish you the happiest of holidays. And we'll see you on the web. We'll see you on social media. We'll see you at combridges.com, or I'd love to hear from you. So thanks again for being here. Bye for now.